Pretty much, I just want to get good at 3D modeling. And I was like, what's a good way to motivate myself? I never really got into fan art, but I was like, you know what? What about I do that but in 3D? So here we are. There was a bit of an initial struggle. You're gonna see because I had to redo many parts. If you don't know anything about Smiling Friends, one thing that very much stands out from it is the art, of course. It uses a lot of mixed media, 3D, 2D. I'm pretty sure they've done like stop motion at some time. But another thing that I don't know, that I noticed as I was making this was how fucked up the perspective is. I don't know if fucked up is the right word, but it's like kind of wonky. So trying to translate it into 3D was a big challenge. At first I was like, it's gonna be a 3D object, so I should use 3D shapes, but that just didn't work out for me. So the second time around, I used a plane to block out the silhouette. Also, okay, so a little background on me. This is like my first model without following a tutorial. So honestly, I'd appreciate any and every any and every feedback, because this shit was hard as fuck. Like, I was pulling things out of my ass. It was like, there's moments, you know, when you're doing something that you're unfamiliar with, and there's moments where you're like, there has got to be an easier way to do this. Like, this cannot be. People aren't doing this, right? So yeah. Anyways, this is supposed to be low poly, but not in the traditional sense. I could have gone way more low poly, and I thought about it, and I think I might in the future. I think actually low poly models and like people making, like, have you seen those models of low poly animals that people do, and it's just 3 triangles? Like, I think that looks hilarious as fuck, but I wanted to go a little bit more defined than that. What the problem was though, I ended up with so many weird shapes somehow. Like I said, I don't know what I'm doing, so, but even I can tell that doesn't look right. And I'm not gonna rig this or anything, so really I just need to make it look pretty. In the beginning, I was trying to follow the reference as close as possible. This was my thought process. I want it to look like the picture, right? So I'll just make it look good from the side view, and if it looks wonky from the front, then it'll be part of the charm. Like, oh, look how good it looks, and you turn it and it's like fucking cursed. But it was because I was working on many different body parts. It was kind of hard to, like, one body part would look good, like this head right now. It's like, okay, that's good, but then the mouth, when I made it, it's like has so many rectangles. I don't even know how that happened. I ended up redoing it. So here you see I'm like testing out, like, oh, maybe I should go even more low poly, and it didn't look bad, but then I feel like I kind of lost this essence of like Charlie, you know, like his nose is very round and bulbous. It's kind of like his main feature. So anyways, I ended up redoing the mouth part by just like extruding from the main head piece and just using the old plane as a model. Okay, the headphones were a really confusing part because this is supposed to be a side profile of Charlie, right? But if you were to look at a pair of headphones directly from the side, you wouldn't be able to see the whole band. You'd only see the earpiece and the side of the band, not the front. And this is because the reference is more of a combination of a side view, a 3/4 view, and a 45-degree angle perspective. But this angle only applies to the table and the body, not the head or the window in the back. And so I had to make the headphones super crooked to match this. But then I was like, nah, fuck it, I'm gonna just do it like a regular headset. And oh yeah, I had given myself a timeline of 7 days to complete this, like a little challenge for myself, because I do want to do all the Smiling Friends, and so I didn't want to spend too long working on this, so I gave myself 7 days. On to actually making it 3D, I just extruded the plane and then added some loop cuts, and to make it more round, I beveled the edges. At this point, he's kind of looking like a dinosaur. I struggled a lot to get his nose to come in, like be more pointy. I don't know why. Yeah, and then I remembered that mirroring was a thing. I don't know why I was struggling so hard for so long trying to make them match each other. I was like, oh yeah, mirroring. And here you can see me struggling with the mirror modifier, even though I've used it so many times. So then I realized I had to fix the tip of his nose, because I don't even know how I ended up with this many planes, and I wanted it to just be a nice little round nose. And so I was like, oh, let me bevel it, but then it came up with so many weird shapes, and I was like, okay, never mind. I ended up just moving every vertices manually. So here I was debating on the level of detail I should give him, because part of what makes this Charlie scene so iconic and funny is that he looks like shit. He looks borderline disgusting. Like he's drooling, he's got grimy shit all over himself. So I was like, oh, let me try to bring that out. But in the end, it just didn't look good in my opinion. I feel like in the future, if I ever do this, I'll probably use the grease pencil or just try to actually make a texture. But yeah, I ended up not keeping the eye bags. His mouth was honestly probably the easiest part because I just had to inset it and then extrude it inwards. And then boom, a mouth. Now onto the body. Holy fuck. Ugh, I don't even know. I spent the most time on his body, I think. So since I was planning on the model just looking good from one angle, it was kind of like sculpting, I was imagining the parts that would stick out from his body, which would be his arms and his boobs. I was modeling with the intent to add materials, so I was making sure to carve out spaces for that. Like the bottom of his arm, that little triangle is going to be his belly, and then a triangle on top for the collar of his shirt and stuff like that. All of this work that I'm putting into his hands and his other arm literally doesn't matter because I'm gonna end up redoing it anyways. Okay, so at this point he was coming together, and when I looked at him from the front, I was like, well, okay, here's the thing. I was planning on doing like a little camera rotation from the side to the front, and like, yes, I could have kept his shirt just on the side, but I was like, it looks like it could fit on the front, like it could work, you know. But at this point I still was resisting the urge to redo the whole everything. I honestly think that the hair brought it all together. I feel like before then you can sort of tell it's Charlie, but once you add the hair, it's unmistakably Charlie, bro. Okay, when I had to add the table is when I realized I cannot make this a one-to-one reference or model, whatever. Because the table is tilted so much, right, in the drawing, and his arms, it would just not work. So I had to compromise and just angle it slightly. And that's when I was like, I guess it doesn't have to be exactly like the scene. I can take things into my own hands, use some creative liberty. Finally, I took the step. I jumped. Oh, what was that saying? I took a leap of faith. I don't even know. I decided to redo the hand. Baby steps, right? This was really difficult because usually when you're working in 3D, you have a front and a side reference, and that way you can cross-reference and make sure everything looks good. But in this case, I only had a side reference, and even that reference wasn't technically completely just a side reference. Then I moved on to the background hand, and in this one, I don't even know if you can tell later on, but I had accidentally gave him 3 fingers instead of 4 fingers. But once I had realized, because okay, in the picture you can only see 3 fingers, so I was like, I was just following the picture, man. It was too late when I realized I had only given him 3 fingers. Like, I was literally working on the camera animation when I realized he only had 3 fingers. But the render is so short that I don't even think you can notice. Now for one of the finishing pieces, which is the hoodie. I was really debating on whether I should redo it because it doesn't even look that bad. Like, yes, it doesn't make sense in the 3D sense. Wait, what? In the 3D space. But I was like, well, I already made everything else more 3D, so I was like, might as well see what this looks like. Finally, I can start coloring. It's pretty simple. I was just adding, what do you call them? I was just adding materials. Most of it was just plain colors except for like the laptop, which I did make it more shiny and stuff. But I feel like he was really coming together. This is, I don't know if I would call it my least favorite part of modeling and stuff, but it's definitely I'm not very comfortable because I don't know what I'm doing. Which, I mean, it's like most of my process, but lighting, I don't know. You can do so much and it would still just look wrong. Like, you really need more lights than you think. And I don't know how to build an environment, you know? Finally, I added the walls. I think in the future, like if I were to remake this, I would try to make like an actual background with like the window and like the pizza box and stuff like that. But for now, I'm satisfied. So yeah, there you have it. And then in the render, I did add like some pixelated effects or like some dithering effects, but I'm pretty proud of it, I think. That was pretty much it. Okay, bye.